This is the first winery that we're going to visit. What's the name of this one?
It's named Numisi.
Numisi.
Yes. And it's name coming from his owners.
Good morning YouTube. I have been in Tbilisi for a few days, but today I'm going to discover a new region in Georgia. That's the Kakheti region, the famous wine production area in Georgia. We all know that French wine is quite famous, but Georgia has a very long history of wine production too. For example, here the wine production has a history of almost 8,000 years. And what's special is in this Kakheti region, the wine was not produced in a wooden barrel, unlike that in France. What they use is a special clay pot. I have never been to this region and I have never tried a Georgian wine before, and therefore I'm really looking forward. So let's go. Now I want to take a taxi to the train station, and now I have a traveling tip for you. So if you're traveling to Georgia, remember to download an app called Boita. Look at this. And this is like the Uber in Georgia, and the taxi fee is relatively affordable. So right now I'm going to have a 15 minutes ride of 5 kilometers and costs about €3.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Rogulava.
Rogoraha.
Roguraha.
Rogorha.
Rogurha. Are there? How much money are there? Yes.
Ara?
Ara?
No.
No. Ara? No. Ara? No. Dia is yes. That's my today's Georgian. Matlova.
You're welcome. Ara, please.
Ara, please.
Ara, please.
Ara, please.
You're welcome.
Ara, please. Georgian is difficult. Ara, please. This is my room and it costs 25 lari per night, one of the cheapest of its kind. However, it's comfortable enough for me. This is a view outside the hostel. That's the vineyard and that's the church. Hey. This town of Signagi, it's actually pretty small, and I was in the city center for about 20 minutes. I took a walk. There are a lot of beautiful Georgian houses of this kind with colorful balconies. Look at the detail of the houses. Besides Signagi, it's quite famous among the Georgians. It's known as the City of Love, which means many couples come here for the weddings. The town itself is quite small, as I said before. There are things you can do. There are a couple of monasteries in the region. There are a lot of small wine cellars and good food. Time for the drones. Time to explore the Georgian wine.
Детка, нельзя. Sorry.
Madlova. In Signagi there are lots of small home wineries where you can try the local wine. However, to really understand the Georgian winemaking industry and winemaking culture, I've decided to sign up for a tour. So what is the plan for today?
Okay, we will see the 3 different wineries. Yeah. We will go inside the Caucasus Mount too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big cave inside.
Yeah.
And first one it will be old Georgian traditional winery.
Yeah.
And museum too. Second one it will be tunnel of wine, and third one it will be big corporation, the Kings Marauli. It's very famous. Also, they are exporting wines Turkey, China, France, and 28 countries.
Yeah. We stopped somewhere. Signagi is on the mountains, but look at that huge plain. That's an area for wine production. And Signagi region is actually one of the driest area in Georgia. The temperature in summer it's hot and dry, and hence it's very ideal for the wine production. This is the first winery that we're going to visit. What's the name of this one?
Name Numisi.
Numisi.
Yes. It's name coming from his owners, Nunu and Misha.
Numisi.
Yes.
This is one of the wineries in the Kakheti region, and in this place you can find the tradition of wineries. For example, this big wooden box, I would say. It's in the past people used to put the grapes inside and then they step on it to press the juice out. And this one, another interesting utensil. This is for drinking. And my host Coco, he just told me, like, if you want to drink from this one, you have to finish everything. And this is perhaps big enough for 2 bottles of wine. The Georgians can really drink. And let's go further. Here it's the Qvevri, the secret place of Georgian wine. It is in this place where Georgian wine were made. So under this underground, it's the clay. Buried under this is the clay pot that is called Qvevri. Here there's a small one. Look at this. This is one of the smallest size. And Coco, he just told me in Georgia there isn't a biggest Qvevri. There's only bigger ones. And unlike the winemaking in Europe, in France, Georgian wines are fermented in clay pots like this, and they don't use the grape juice. Instead, they put the grapes together with the skins and even with the sterns, and then they let them ferment underground in a Qvevri like that for several weeks or even months. Those are the Qvevris that the Georgians used to make wine. Look at the size. I think it's perhaps 10 times the size of me. It's about 2 meters, at least 2 meters, 2 meters wide. But our host told me it's not the biggest. It's definitely not the biggest Qvevri in Georgia. We are going to try the wine in the first winery. Today we have 3 wineries to visit, so I hope I don't get drunk after my visitation. And what is this?
This one? It's a Kakheti name, very popular in East Georgia. And this one is a Saperavi, one of the popular in Georgia too. And this one is a chacha.
Yeah.
And this one is a brandy inside.
Wow. I'm not an expert, but this wine is quite good.
It's like a flower.
Yes, yes. It smells really good, and it's not sweet. It's more dry. It's dry.
and I know in the Qvevri you cannot control the temperature, you cannot control some sugar sediments. Everything happens in nature during the, as I told you, the 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and they always Qvevri wine is dry. You cannot make a sweet or semi-sweet wine. Yeah, we put inside also flowers of grapes because it's like a more flowery taste. Yeah, it's have a fruity. Yeah, and the European style they're not using the flowers and like this, only grapes.
Only grape juice. After one shot, I'm already a little bit drunk, but we're going for the second winery. Right now we have arrived at the second winery. It's called Qvervi with 8 kilometers of wine channel. And now we're in an electronic car.
They have a fish here. When you come back, I will show you.
Before we start, and she recommended us to have a blanket because it's going to be very cold as it's a wine cave. They were asking me if I need a blanket to go inside, but after the chacha and some brandy and some Georgian wines, I don't think I need any blanket.
Qvevri. And this is the oldest method of winemaking. We are just hermetically closing it and leave it wine inside. We don't bottle it. It takes much longer time, some 1 month. In total 6 months for white wine. If it's red wine, less time of course. But what happens? Skin and seeds are separating by themselves. All the sediments of wine are coming down. In the first time they had kind of pumpkin which they call orshimo. It fills from the hole you see here. And as I told you, it takes out the own liquid without any skin or something else, of course. But all the like waste things which are on the bottom, skin, seeds, sediments, we just need to clean it up well. We are having.
So this is a wine tunnel of 80 kilometers. It's freezing inside, and I want to show you the typical Qvevri. This is the wine.
The bottle and pay attention. Does it has written Qvevri or no? Okay. If there is written Qvevri, it means Georgian traditional method, and this means also that it is dry for sure, not sweet. Okay. You should know, of course, about Qvevri wines. This is oldest method of winemaking, which we are still using, of course, in Georgia, and it's more natural process which is not controlled by winemaker, of course. You're tasting, there are lemons. This is color. That's why they're in the color. Now is this color, and
So the darker
white
the
wine,
older.
but it depends. If it's white wine, it becomes darker. If it's red wine, it becomes lighter. And the color.
We just tried some wines, and she told me like almost every family in the Kakheti region has their own vineyard. And before building the house, first they will build an underground basement as a wine cellar, which means wine is really an old tradition in this region. Now we are at the third winery. See all those Qvevri, which are buried underground. And I was asking her if it's wine inside, and she said right now inside those Qvevri is only water because the harvest season hasn't started yet. The harvest season starts normally in September or October, and by then those Qvevri will be filled with grapes. After visiting the winery, I bought a bottle of white wine from the local farmers. It's actually not white, it's brownish and golden. This is because of the special fermentation process called Qvevri. They put not only the grape juice, but the whole grape with skins and seeds inside the clay pot during the fermentation process, and therefore Georgian wine tastes very different from the European wines. It has a fragrance of the grapes, although some European tourists would say it doesn't really taste wine, but for me it's really a unique taste. That's the end of my today's video, and tomorrow I will take a train overnight from Tbilisi to Yerevan and enter my third country, Armenia. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.